So basically what I'm going to do now is talk to you guys on how to make a car a drift car for the cheapest, most possible way you could do things. The first thing that I would do, okay, the first thing that Julian has done for his car, he's got an automatic SC300. I don't think you guys know that, but his car is automatic, and he drifts the crap out of that thing, right? It's rear-wheel drive, and it's an automatic. All he's done is put an angle kit on it, welded the diff, and put some suspension on it. That's it. Very simple, easy setup. It's an automatic, and he shreds. So what I would do, since I've been able to basically like deal with this for the past 2 years and like talk to a lot of people, and I lived it, so I did things. Every build's different, but how I did things was a little off center. I would like kind of work on the motor, and then I would do like a seat, and then I would do this, and I would do that. What I would do, okay, the first 3 steps I would do is 1, weld the diff. Weld the diff, get it welded, take it out, put some new bushings in. That is literally the easiest thing that you can do. It's, like I said, it'll range from $50 to $100 for someone to weld your diff. Okay? You weld that diff, no matter what, those tires will spin, you will get sideways. Okay. 2, I would do coil overs. You harden up your ride, you lower your ride a little bit, it's going to grip better to the car, and there you go. You're going to weld the diff and suspension off the rip. You got it'll be a totally different ride. It'll be super easy to drift. And then number 3, I would say angle kit. Personally, like me and Mark, we talked about this a lot. Me and Jesse have talked about this a lot, and we've talked about it basically because if you guys have an angle kit, you're going to be able to learn how to drift easier than without an angle kit. I learned personally without an angle kit. Mark has learned without an angle kit. Jesse has learned with an angle kit. It totally depends, 1, definitely on the driver, but 2, it's a lot easier. If you guys are trying to just drift a car and have fun and have a blast, spend the money to get an angle kit, either custom fabbed up by a guy like Brian, or buy your kit off like a GK Tech kit for $500 and like just put it on and it's done. And you guys will have a blast. So those are the main 3 things that I would do. So I would do welded diff, suspension, and then angle kit. And you guys will be, you can have the slowest turd, but I'm telling you right now, you'll be able to get it sideways as long as you guys keep it in the high revs. Then going on from there, you could always get a hydro after that. So that's just going to help with initiation and stuff. But you can use your stock e-brake. You just get a little e-brake push button to lock the e-brake when you want to use it, and that's like $10, maybe not even, maybe $5 for the e-brake push button. So like I said, that would be the first hands down 4 things I would do off the rip. That's what I would do. So I'd say if you follow those 4 steps that I told you guys, you could probably build a drift car for under like $800 worth of work and parts. So some other people might have their other opinions. Some people might battle me on it, but I mean that's just from my point of view in the 2 years that I've been dealing with building a drift car. So I now have both of these guys here while Robbie's working on this. What I've told you guys earlier was about exactly what I think about my car and like how I set my car up the way I did. And I was trying to help you guys out with like kind of skipping certain steps just so you guys could just get into a car and be able to drift it. So I was talking with Mark, and we're thinking about, I was like talking about angle and everything, and I want to get Mark's point of view on what someone should do for just an entry-level drift car.
For an entry-level drift car, you know, a lot of guys in Grassroots, you know, we ain't got much money, we just got our car. You know, so there's what a lot of people are looking for is like, what's cheap? What can I do right away without spending money, without having to order parts and wait for them to show up, you know, this and that. You know, like, my knowledge base is limited. I kind of want to start taking these baby steps into learning about the car. Well, real simply put, right off the rip, you can save weight in the car. Pull out the interior, you know, take out the unnecessary brackets, all the little zip ties and plastics and stuff that hold things in place and everything. Just like the creature comforts, like if you're going for an all-out drift build, you can take your heat out, you can take the AC out, you know, power windows, power locks. And trust me, if you keep all of it, and you have a 100% bone stock car, and you put all that stuff in a pile, you're gonna have a hard time lifting that pile. all at once, obviously, but it's going to add up to a lot. And the car immediately off the rip is it's going to be more fun.
You don't
It's
need
gonna
weight
be-
reduction though. Tell you what, she's
You
a
don't
heavy
need it.
peg. I have damn near full interior except for the trunk interior. She still slides.
Depending on
Right.
depending on what you got for a platform, I don't think the 240 with the single jingle could slide with a full interior.
So what I was telling, so these guys don't know what I was talking about before.
This
So
not running right. It was still sliding.
the first, like I said, 4 steps that I threw out there was this. This is what I threw out there, so they know what I'm talking about. I threw out 1, weld the diff off the rip.
That's a good idea.
50
Yeah,
bucks.
that
$50, weld the
makes
diff.
drifting so much easier.
All right.
It really does.
Yeah. Okay. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Because you're welding without it. You're drifting without a welded diff right now.
I'm drifting with an open diff, but I mean, I've had welded in the truck, and yeah, it makes fucking things a hell of a lot easier.
Yeah. So that was the first thing. So I mean, we pretty much agree on that. The second thing I would say is probably the more pricey part of it, but suspension.
Yes.
Yeah, you got
Lower
to
center of
tighten
gravity.
up. You lower center of gravity, tighten up the suspension so that you keep the tires planted to the ground, and there's not a whole lot of movement going on there. Another thing that helps is the mounts, the subframe mounts, diff mounts, engine mounts. Anything that's going to help put the power to the wheels to get them to to break traction. That's ultimately what you want to do. And even with a low horsepower car like my single cam, S13 over there, it's got 17-inch wheels on it. It'll drift no problem. I just bump up the tire pressure to like 55 psi. Yeah, angle's gonna help you out.
And
Some cars you get more angle than others.
So that's the next thing I was gonna say was angle. So angle, obviously, like I said before, is that I learned Mark taught me how to drift without angle.
Yeah, boy.
Mark has drifted without angle.
Without power steering.
Without power steering and without angle. And then Robbie also has learned drifting without angle. So
And the 832 is limited on its stock angle.
exactly. Yeah. So and then what I was saying about the angle too is that like you'll be able to learn how to drift with angle by doing just a couple little things, like just getting a rack spacer, bang. That's going to give you more angle.
Yeah,
or
that's easy.
like I said, is talk with Brian Broom, and just like find a fab guy that will be able to make an angle kit for $200 instead of spending $1,500, $2,300 for like a Wise Fab kit. So you don't need to go anything crazy, but it's going to be beneficial for you. And the fourth thing that I also said was a handbrake or even an e-brake with a little push button.
You don't even need it.
That's what I'm saying.
You
But
really don't
you don't really
go
need that?
crazy. I see that's what a lot of people ask about for for what they want or what they think that they need for a drift build right off the rip. I've been drifting for 3, almost 4 years, and I've never used an e-brake, not once. I clutch kick my entries. Sometimes I power shift from first into second for my entries. And other times I can just kind of do like the fishtail flick into an entry. But really, for someone who doesn't have much money, honestly, it's going to be weight reduction, and it's going to be suspension. Weight reduction and suspension is what I would is what I would recommend to anybody with whatever car that they have. It doesn't matter if you're drifting an E36, E46, if you got a Toyota, if you got like a Supra or the Corolla, or if you got a 240 or if you got a 300. No matter what you're drifting, make it light and
Lower center of
and
gravity.
just lower it down, get it, and make it light and tight, But yeah, the only other things I can recommend, which is easily accomplished, would be good alignment. You got if your toe is set good, front and rear. That's ultimately what's going to help you improve.
after going over everything that we just went over, what are your first, I would say, 3 or 4 things you would do to a drift car to keep things simple for all the beginners?
Absolute 100% proper maintenance. Fluids, spark plugs. With Nissan engines, they have a lot of base settings that you have to go through and make sure they're all correct for proper engine performance. That way you're gonna maximize the amount of horsepower out of your car that you're gonna get. And if you're just starting out, I know you don't have a lot of horsepower. The next one I would say is, especially if you're on a budget, I would gut it. Take the weight out, man. Ditch that interior. strip all the amenities, all the creature comforts, whatever you can get out of the car, down to brackets and bolts. Definitely suspension. I would put that up there. Those are my top 3, obviously, and suspension has to be in my top 3 because tightening up your suspension, you put more power to the ground, and it makes the car just easier to handle all around.
All right.
And then lastly, I'm going to have to say is alignment. If you have a good alignment, the car is going to be more predictable, and as a driver, you'll be much better off getting the feel for the car and getting comfortable with the car with a good alignment. That way you're not trying to compensate yourself for it later.
So there's Mark's points on that. I mean, Robbie was over here listening too. He's pretty busy, but I'm pretty sure I think he's pretty much in the same boat. Do you have anything to add that you would like to add for your?
Mark's usually pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, he is. Mark's very good at this.
Definitely maintenance first.
Yeah.
That is key.
All right.
That would be number 1. If your car's not running right, you're not going to do very well.
Exactly.
So.
All right. So if you guys ever have any questions, like I said, we're always ready to be in like the comments or emails, or like I said, I'll always text these guys, ask them like what we should do or what's going on. So like I said, definitely leave stuff down below. But I mean, that's pretty much we've talked about everything. So if like I said, if you guys do have any like opinions or anything like that, shoot them in the comments and we'll be able to help you out. But yeah, going on from there, I mean, just keep things simple. Like I said, as simple as Mark kept it. I put in a couple of little things that I just knew that helped me off the rip. But I mean, Mark pretty much hit the nail on the head there. So but you guys know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm gonna leave Mark to send us out.
Yo.
Peace.